This is Module 1, Lesson 8 homework. Number 1 says, write the decomposition that helps you and then round to the given place value. We are not writing a decomposition. We are just going to round using a vertical number line. So it says, draw number lines to explain your thinking. Circle the rounded value excuse me, on each number line. So it gives us a number 43 and 586 thousandths. We need to round to the nearest tenth, hundredth, and 1. So if we draw our vertical number line, we need to label a rock bottom, maximum, and a midpoint. So we're going to make this one our tenths. So if we look at our number, we have 43 and 5 tenths. So we know that that's going to be our minimum or our rock bottom. So we know we have at least 43 and 5 tenths in our number. And then we need to ask ourselves, what is the next tenth up? The next tenth up is 43 and 6 tenths. And then we know that 1 tenth is made up of hundredths. So there's 10 hundredths between 43 and 5 tenths and 43 and 6 tenths. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know that if this is 43 and 50 hundredths and this is 43 and 60 hundredths, halfway between those two would be 43 and 55 hundredths. Then we need to go ahead and look at our number and decide, well, where does it fall? It's 43 and 586 thousandths, which puts it at, let's see, 56 thousandths and 56 hundredths, 57 hundredths, 58 hundredths. So it'd be just above here at 43 and 586 thousandths. Since it's above our midpoint, we would circle this number and say that rounded to the nearest tenth. 43 and 586 thousandths is 43 and 6 tenths. When we round to the nearest hundredth, we do the same thing. We draw a vertical number line. This time we're going to make sure that we know that we are doing hundredth. So we look at our number out to the hundredths place. We have 43 and 58 hundredths. And then we know that one more hundredth than that is 43 and 59 hundredths. We know that a hundredth is made up of thousandths. So halfway between 43 and 58 thousandths and 43 and 58 hundredths and 43 and 59 hundredths is 43 and 585 thousandths, because these are all the thousandths that make up our 100th. We look at our number, it would fall exactly 43 and 586 thousandths would fall right there, making it above our midpoint, so we would round up to 43 and 59 hundredths. To round to the nearest 1, we look at our number, 43. We know we have at least 43 ones in our number. The next one up from that is 44. 1 is made up of tenths, so we know that there are 43 and 5 tenths between the two of those. Then, if we look at our actual number, we have 43 and 586 thousandths, which falls just above there, which is at or above our midpoint, so we would round up to 44 for our ones. When we look at our word problems, the one that I want to focus on is on the back page. So it says, a decimal number has 2 digits to the right of its decimal point. If we round to the nearest tenth, the result is 18 and 6 tenths. What is the maximum possible value for this number? Use words and the number line to explain your reasoning. Include a midpoint on your number line. So let's look at our number here. We know that this is carried out to the hundredths place, but we need to find out what is the biggest digit that can go there and still have it round to 18 and 6 tenths, which would be to round down on our number line. So the number line they provided here for us is between 18 and 6 tenths and 18 and 7 tenths. We know that the midpoint between 18 and 6 tenths and 18 and 7 tenths is 18 and 65 hundredths. So if we look here, we know that at the midpoint or above, we would round up to 18 and 7 tenths. So we need to know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 other numbers that could be here. The largest number that we could have, the largest hundredth place, the largest digit in the hundredth place would be 18 and 64 hundredths would be the largest one. So to be able to explain this, we would need to say that our number line does a lot of explaining for us, but we would need to say if it were larger than 65 hundredths, if this digit were larger than 5, it had more than 5 hundredths, we would have to round up to 18 and 7/10 instead of rounding down to 18 and 6/10. When we look at the next one, it asks us what the minimum possible value is. So it's the same kind of thing, but this time it's going from 18 and 6/10 to 18 and 5/10. We know that this 1/10 is made up of hundredths, so let's label our midpoint as 18 and 55 hundredths. And we know that we're rounding up in this one, so our rule for rounding up is if we're at or above our midpoint. So the minimum possible value would be 18 and 55 hundredths. We would have to explain that if we had fewer than 5 hundredths, we would have to round down to 18 and 5/10. So the minimum possible value would be 18 and 55 hundredths.